Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Entrepreneurs Being More for Wednesday, April 13th. We have sent out the initial recordings, our first 11 recordings that we've done in this series. And I'll make sure and add last week and this week and get those out to you as well. We're creating a Nikken Academy, and most likely these recordings will end up there so you can find them easily in one place. But until then, we'll send them out in an email to everybody and just have in order the links to the YouTube videos that Ben has been working with us in creating over the past few months. So we've gone through the process of finding, inviting, doing presentations and following up. Ben is going to help us review the transition into now a next step of helping customers and consultants in making the decision to join the global wellness community at a level that might require a little more commitment than just knowing about the products or knowing about Nikken. So Ben, we're excited to have you with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much. So like Jess said, today, what we want to talk about really is the closing process. We've given the presentations, we've had the multiple contact points, we've done the ABCs, we've done the follow-up, we've extended the invitations to take some type of action. And now we're in this space where we want to help them move from being a prospect to being a customer or a business partner. So I'm going to talk about two things tonight to help us to do that effectively. One is, what kind of posture do I need to have in that process? Because how we position and hold ourselves in this particular part, essentially, critically, really impacts their confidence themselves in making strong decisions. Yeah, they will mirror to some degree your own attitude and convictions when it comes to this decision-making process. So we want to make sure that we've got the right posture as we go through this. And then we want to make sure that we're asking some great questions. And I've got some examples of what are some good questions that we can ask to help someone get from being a prospect to now making the decision to be a customer or a business partner. So I'm going to share my screen and then we'll get into it. So, okay, so here we go. So like it says here, the key to success here is good posture and good questions. There are 5 different things that I want us to focus on in this stage of our business building activities to help us have the right posture. And the first one here says emotionally detach. It's really important, I think. I'm going to pause my screen and then come back to it and what have you. It's really important in this process that we don't get too emotionally invested in that answer of them saying yes. Our goal here, this is what helps us get the strong posture. The goal is not to get someone into the business or get someone as a customer. The goal here is to inform and to educate, and then they can make their own decisions. Okay, so it's really important there that we understand. That helps us to just separate out our emotional investment. It's so hard, isn't it? This is almost a paradox of our business building activity, this one, because it means so much to us. We want to succeed. We love our cause that we're involved in. We want to make a difference for them. So we've got all of this natural emotion that helps us to be good because we care about them. But then at the same time, we've got to develop some type of balance where we love them, we love our cause, we're excited about our business, but we can still detach a little bit from their answer and their outcome so that we can let them take an organic course. If we are too invested emotionally in their choice or their decision, then what tends to happen is we come across as very needy. We can then start to cross the line into being a little pushy and start to give them the wrong information or too much information, kind of drown them in too much of our own emotions that we don't get to see them for what they want and need right now. So really important that kind of step one, in order to get that right posture, don't overly emotionally invest in the outcome. Another thing I'll tell you that really helps with this process as well, and not being so emotionally connected and learning to detach a little bit, is to have enough people in your pipeline. If you don't have enough people in your pipeline, then the wrong people will become disproportionately important to you. And then you'll spend too much time with the wrong people versus moving on to the next person to help them make a better choice. Okay, so really, really important. Emotional detachment is a difficult thing to navigate, especially when we're invested so much, but we can facilitate that better if we keep our pipeline full. That really makes a difference. Like I said, otherwise we spend too much time with the wrong people and we expect too much from them versus just letting them achieve their own goals and meet their own needs. So, okay, let's go back to these different requirements here for having the right posture. Be assumptive. I like this one. And again, this is something that we have to practice in order to develop. Develop a belief so strong that you assume people are going to say yes. Again, we want to have this great degree of confidence in what we're doing so that we go, why would you want to say no? I don't understand. This is just too good to pass up. And when you can project that type of conviction, I've always taught when I was a training manager, convincing teaching comes from conviction. So if you really want to be convincing and persuasive, you've got to lead out with your own convictions. So really develop that. How do I develop it if I don't have it? Well, the starting point is really looking for small wins rather than looking for massive victories. I'll really believe this when I'm a platinum. I'll really believe I'm getting there when I'm on my track to diamond. Well, no, you've got to have that conviction long before then. You've got to have that early on, right out the gate. So you can develop that by going, I just had a great conversation with someone. I just saw someone else have a great win. They can do it, I can do it. Yeah. And so look for those testimonials, look for those wins in your own daily experiences so that you can build that confidence and have that assurance when you speak. That confidence is so important because, like I said, people do tend to mirror each other in conversations. Okay, so point number 3, promote yourself. I like this point, and it's a really, really important one. We have a great product and we have a great opportunity. And this is what it's great to say. And I'm going to take this thing to the top and we can do it together. This is a great selling feature in helping someone get started strong, that they know that they're not doing this by themselves. Oh, do I have to have all the answers myself? Do I have to know everything? Do I have to be a genius around the compensation plan? Do I need to be a product scientist to really get this thing moving? No, you don't. We're going to partner up. We're going to do this together. I'm not going to do it for you, but if you're willing to run, I'll run with you. Yeah. So a big selling feature in this closing process is letting them know that not only do they get a great product and a great business opportunity, they also get you. That's a huge selling feature. You might not believe that at first. Maybe you, what am I offering here? I'm not someone else. I'm not, Bob Satterwhite, or I'm not Ruth Lowe, or I'm not Sherry Danzig, or whoever it might be that you look up to and aspire to be like. You've got to have confidence in what you can offer and bring to the table. Okay, so with confidence, say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm going all the way, and I'd love for you to come with me. Yeah, what a great journey. Immediately they're expecting, we're going to drive to the top. We're going to achieve success together. It's an us thing. And so selling you as a part of the process, really, really important part of getting that posture right. So number 4, always be prepared. Do you have currently everything that you need to get a person started strong? Do you know what they need to get started strong? Do you know what they should be doing in their first month? What information they should have? What videos they should have watched? What calls they should have been on? Which people in the organization they should be talking to? You want to have all of that written out, all of that documented, and have your checklist. Okay, we do have a checklist that's available. So if you don't have that already, I can perhaps do a brief screen share of that and pull that up later on in the call. But we do have a business plan that just goes through what are the fundamental checkpoints to help people get started strong. At the same time, Do you have a list of what videos and materials you have people to watch and listen to and engage in to help them understand what they're doing? Do you have a library of books that you have people listen to, read, podcasts that you have people listen to, so that they get their mind centered on success, on entrepreneurship, on goal achievement, on personal development, on believing in themselves and really driving this business forward? So it's good to get these things all lined up and have it with you wherever you go. Have those things, have them locked in on your phone so that you know that there's an easy share to get out there to people. Okay. And then the last point, as we talked about, that we want to talk about on this, is of all the tools that you've got, your questions are your most powerful tool. So as I put down here, what you want to do is act like a consultant that's helping a person with a problem. What does that mean? It means that you want to find out what their needs are and really drill down and ask great questions to help solve their problems and be a solution provider. So learn to ask great questions. So let me give you an example of one that I really like. Again, this question is linked to the closing process. So you've gone through this process like we've talked about over the last number of weeks. We've done a ton of calls around extending invitations, around helping people make commitments, around follow-up, around what we show people, what information do we share out, well, what presentations do we give, all these different things. You've gone through all of that process. Now you're getting them to a point where you want to find out, do we move forward or do they need more information? This question is a great one to ask. Let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 meaning you've got 0 interest and 10 meaning you're ready to get started right now, where are you at? And when you ask that question, you pause, you stop, you listen. That's a really good question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being you're not interested, 10 being you're ready to get going right now, where are you at? That helps you understand, do I need to give them more information, give them more exposures to other things to help them make a decision and be more informed, or do we get moving and move ahead? That's what you want to do. Now, what I'd like to do now is assume that we've just asked that question. We've done the follow-up, we've done the presentations, we're now gauging where they're at, what their interest level is, and they're leaning towards being interested. You just asked that question on a scale of 1 to 10, where you're at. Yeah, they're sounding pretty positive. Here are 4 very important questions that we can ask that will help you convert that person from being a prospect to a customer or a business partner. And this one here is actually getting specifically towards being a business partner. So let's focus here for just 1 second on building your organization. Okay, so these questions will help you get someone to prospect through to being a business partner. And let's maybe discuss these afterwards. You'll notice that they flow. They are in chronological order. Okay, question number 1. Based on what you've seen, if you were to get started with this company on a part-time basis, approximately how much would you need to earn per month in order for this to be worth your time? That's a really good question to ask. What we don't want to do is put a number in their heads. Too many people go, how would you like to earn an extra $5,000 a month? Right? How would you like to earn an extra $2,000 a month? We immediately give them a number, but that number might be what excites you versus what excites them. Let's find out what excites them. And keep in mind, this is what I've learned over the course of many years in this business, is people start out typically with smaller numbers. And as their confidence grows, that number starts to change. Yeah. So once you get a few wins under your belt, once you get a rank advancement, once you start to move and develop and grow, all of a sudden that number that really gets you excited becomes more meaningful and it starts to evolve. This is a dynamic answer. Okay. But at the beginning, it may be just something like, hey, I would love it if I could earn an extra $500. Or an extra couple $100 would be great. You know, that might just pay for my food bill every week. That would be fantastic. Okay, so based on what you've seen so far, if you were to get started with Nikken on a part-time basis, approximately how much would you need to earn a month in order for this to be worth your while? And then the next question, a great one again. Approximately how many hours could you commit each week to develop this kind of income? Now what we're doing is we're moving from the aspirational into the commitment. Okay, so now you're getting a real sense of commitment. If they turn around and say, oh, I'd love to earn $5,000 a month, and I'm willing to commit 2 hours a week to make that happen. Okay, we need to have some further discussions here and getting connected to reality. Okay, you're not going to get there with a couple of hours a week, but approximately how many hours could you commit each week to develop this kind of income? For your context, the average network marketer in the direct selling industry globally works about 10 hours a week because most of them are working full-time in other areas. This is a side hustle. This is something that the vast majority do in their part-time, in their spare time. So 10 hours a week, you want to make sure, and we'll go over this, kind of in next week's call, that we engage them in the most productive activities we can to make those hours count. Okay, that's your commitment there coming up as a responsible sponsor, that we want to make those hours count. But let's find out, first of all, what their commitment is. Then question number 3, how many months would you be willing to work those kind of hours? Let's say you're saying 10 hours a week in order to develop your $500 a month income. That's a great question, because what that does then is it takes you from aspirational. The next question leads to commitment. And then the question number 3 is a qualifier. It's a qualifier. It's really helping them understand. If they say, well, I'm willing to work 2 hours a week and I'll do that for a full 6 weeks, then you're really getting a good indicator there of their commitment. If they turn around and say, I want $500 a month and I'm willing to work 10 hours a week, hey, I'm willing to do that for the next 12 months. If I can get $500 a month in a year's time, that would be excellent for me. Maybe I want 1,000 in a year's time, and I'm going to do this 10 hours a week. Okay, and I'll do that. I'll put in those hours for the next 12 months. I'll make that work. Okay, along comes question number 4. If I could show you how to develop an income of, let's say $500 a month, working 10 hours a week over the course of 12 months, would you be ready to get started? There's the big question to conclude on. Now that you've understood what their goals are, what their aspirations are, now that you understand what their commitment is and how serious they are in that commitment, now you're saying, if I could help you complete that task, honor those commitments so you can receive your aspirational goals, would you be willing to get started? Now all of a sudden you're in a place to get going. And the great thing about this, when you ask these types of questions, is it moves the person. How many times have you sponsored someone that has joined the business and done little to nothing? Yeah, we see that happen, don't we? What are the chances that you didn't ask these questions before they joined? Because when they join with these questions, you've immediately given them a framework of expectations and commitment, of a willingness to sacrifice and invest in their business to move forward and achieve meaningful goals. So this is really, really important in making sure that all of this activity that's preceded this moment, all of these contacts, all of the warming your leads, all of the follow-up, all of the presentations, the videos that you've watched, the emails you've sent, the invitations to meetings, all of these different activities, the rollout you've done, or the product demonstration you've given, or whatever it might be, all of that work isn't for naught. If you really want to make that stuff count, these questions are really, really important, because it helps them set their sights on a meaningful goal that is instinctively theirs. It balances that goal, that aspiration, with a commitment to work, gives them a time frame to work within, and now gives the both of you, a sponsor and the new distributor, a meaningful goal to work towards. You now know, what is my task? My task is to help them be productive during these 10 hours a week to make sure they achieve that goal. Yeah. Now you know what you're working for. When we don't have these questions asked, we come across a problem, And that is they join, they don't fully know why, they don't really know what to do. And when you tell them what to do, it doesn't necessarily have any foundation. What is the context? What is the reason behind me doing all this stuff? Why are you wanting me to turn up to another meeting? I went to one last week. Yeah, yeah. Now it's got context, it's got purpose. Do you understand what we're working towards? You said you want to earn $1,000 a month, and you're going to work 10 hours a week for the next 12 months to really drive that business forward and make that happen. We've got to make sure that what we're doing is focused, it's deliberate, it's meaningful, it's intentional, and we get great results. Okay. So that really helps position them and you as the sponsor, as their partner, to really move forward with strength. So that's what we wanted to talk about today. What we want to go over next week is what can we do to help them get started strong, now knowing this is the context of my commitment. What are the first action steps as a brand new distributor in order to move forward and succeed and achieve these goals? I want to just ask each of you tonight, based on what we've talked about today, how does this compare to what you currently do in helping someone get to that point where they sign the agreement and they say yes? Is there anything different here that you've seen that you think could help? Or is there something else that you do that you think would be really helpful to share? Let's feel free to raise your hand, comment in the chat, or unmute yourself. Let's get some feedback. Yes, Karen.
It seems to me to be more focused, so that we have basically a strategic plan.
Mm.
And that's very helpful to keep going in a straight line, and reaching our goals as well as helping them reach their goals by teaching them also. And I think they'll be more successful, we'll be more successful, because we're teaching them how to do it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you, if I can get off track for just 1 second.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of people who are consultants, and one of them is more interested in just helping people,
Mm-hmm.
not interested in the financial aspect of it. How would you use this particular strategic plan to move forward with her in a successful way for both of us?
Okay, that's a great question, because there are certainly plenty of people that come in with that particular goal in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the challenges that I've seen come out a lot, which is kind of represented in your question as well, is sometimes people, when they're wanting to be so purpose-driven or mission-driven around helping others, trying to balance or harmonize my desire to help and serve with making money. Yeah, it's almost like I can only do one or the other. I can't do both at the same time. Yeah,
Right.
and so there is often, sometimes some people experience a bit of conflict with that. So what I would do in that situation, Karen, would be I'd ask more questions. Okay, like I said before, questions are your most powerful resource and tool. So let's say you're distributor, right? And your goal is, I just want to help people. I'm not concerned about making money. I just want to help people. Then I would say, I think that's fantastic, Karen, that you've got such a great heart and you want to make such a difference in helping people. Help me understand what this means to you, because that's a noble goal. What does helping people look like to you? Yeah. And then I'd want to drill down, you know, and that might be, I just want to give my time. I want to help, I want to put a smile on someone's face, or I want to help improve their life in some way, or help them move on to, let's really drill down and get this specific. What does this mean? Yeah. And then as you get more specific and drill down and get those questions answered, then you can start to link it a little bit. And then you say, out of interest, if you were helping, you know, you said that maybe you want to help, oh gosh, it would be great to help 20 people over the course of the next few months. We want to get a little bit specific here versus ambiguous. Yeah. Let's get specific. What number of people do you want to help? In what way do you want to help? How much time can you commit to helping them? Some of these questions can be tailored to this a little bit. How much time are you willing to invest a week in helping people? What would you see as an outcome that would be an indicator of success? What does success look like? And then you can say, now, if you were to be successful in that endeavor and you happen to get paid for it as well, what would that mean? Would that be of interest? Now, and if they go, oh, I'm not interested in the money. Well, what if you were getting paid regardless of that, whether you were interested or not? You were going to get paid as a byproduct of your service. What could you do with that money to make a bigger difference, to help more people? Yeah, maybe that money could be reinvested into great causes and can extend your reach in doing good. Yeah, so it really comes back down to asking more questions.
Thank you so much, Ben. It was very helpful.
Cool, no worries. I'm going to go to Gloria and then to Barbara Richmond. Gloria.
Hi, Ben. Thank you again. I find that I've been saying to people at the very beginning to work on that detachment, which has been a challenge for me over the years, by letting them know right up front that I'm there to inform and educate, so you can make the best decision for you. And then it tends to have them relax and I relax, and I can go on with the information. So that has really helped me a lot. And the minute you said checklist, I was all in. I am a checklist gal. So have I missed something for a very long time that we have a business launch checklist?
Let me, I am going to post something right here. If I can pull it up, give me 1 second. Maybe I'll,
I mean, I know there's been so many different processes that have come and gone.
let me, I'll pull something up and I'll post it in the chat here so you can download it before the call is finished tonight. How's that sound?
Good, thank you.
Cool, thank you. But yeah, that checklist certainly does help. So Barbara Richmond.
Thank you, Ben. Something that I wanted to reiterate what you said to Karen, but if her person is really, really interested in reaching out and helping people, maybe she has a favorite charity, but she's never thought about the funds that she could be generating through helping people with Nikken, that she could be contributing to her favorite charity. Maybe, you know, it's something like the Operation Smile or some of these children in, you know, in African countries that get their schooling. Who knows what it could be, but her dollars could stretch a lot further if she put another emphasis on helping people, divide her interest in helping others, one for helping her family, friends, acquaintances, whatever, and the money that she generates from that into being able to send it further afield to help more people in different ways.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Like I said, it really does come back down to, doesn't it, asking great questions.
And that's the other part of what I wanted to mention. Something that I have finally learned as a veteran is to dive deep with questions and really, really listen to what they're saying, not listening to replying.
Exactly.
Because if you really listen to what they're saying, they'll tell you exactly what it is they're needing or wanting. And then you can support and address that specific need. And they know then that you've actually heard them.
Yeah.
And that you're willing to work with them, not convince them to do something that's in your interest rather than theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. Listening to understand versus listening to respond.
Exactly.
Is really important.
Yeah.
But
it's finally sunk in.
Yeah. Brilliant. And I love that example that Gloria gave earlier, by the way, of, you know, talking about that detachment where you let people know up front what your objective is. My objective isn't to get you. My objective here is simply to understand your needs, And if there is a solution that I can provide, I'd love to be able to help.
Well,
Yeah.
pre-COVID,
not
when I
you-
used to do groups,
Yeah.
you know, and I mean, the person that was inviting me in to do a group, they'd say to me, I don't want you selling to them. I don't want you selling to them. You know, you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'd say to the folks is, I'm not here to sell you anything. I
Yeah.
am here to educate and to have fun.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
then
And it
you
changes
do
the
a
dynamic.
demonstration and they think that there's some sort of trickery in the demonstration. And then you pull two people out of the group that have had no contact or context
Yeah.
with the technologies and get them to do the demonstration on each other. Well, the whole mood changes. And then everybody in the room is saying, let me try.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
great.
energy does a complete
Yeah.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you all very much. I've loved the participation. I love the questions, the feedback. Gloria, I hope you've seen, I've posted that document in the chat. So by all means, everyone download that before the call finishes if you haven't got it already. Thank you very much again for your engagement, your enthusiasm. And I hope particularly those 4 questions at the end that we discussed will help us all get a little bit more focus in helping people move from being a prospect to being a partner, and importantly, being a partner with purpose. Yeah, so thank you very much. And I'll pass the time back to Jeff to wrap up.
Ben, thank you. We'll continue next week and we'll move on to the next step in this process of recruitment in helping people get started right. So once they've made that choice, that decision to become a customer, to become a consultant, what do we do? What kinds of actions do we take? What strategies do we use to help them get started as a customer or in their business correctly? Ben, thanks again. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week.